Welcome to my channel today. Video Start Putin's Secret Life You Never Knew About. Let's go. You know Vladimir Putin as the president of Russia. But behind closed doors, there's a side of him the world rarely sees. Voice lowers to a conspiratorial tone. From secret families to hidden palaces. This is Putin's secret life you never knew about. Hey, everyone, here are 5 things you didn't know about Putin's secret life. Part 1. The Mysterious Childhood. Vladimir Putin was born in Leningrad, Russia. Back then, it was called St. Petersburg. His parents were working class, his father a builder and his mother a factory worker. So how did their son become one of the most powerful men in the world? Well, that's not exactly clear. What is clear is that Putin grew up in extreme poverty. He has described his childhood as very difficult, and despite extensive research, very little has been discovered about his early life. Putin himself is extremely private about it and won't speak about it publicly. When Putin was just 2 years old, his father died. It's alleged that his grandfather, who had been in the military, trained Vladimir in martial arts from a young age. We don't even know if Vladimir had a grandfather or if this story is simply made up by the KGB to help cover up Vladimir's past. Some people have claimed that both of his grandparents were Jewish. Again, whether or not this is true, nobody knows. All we know is that they died when Putin was just a baby, leaving him to be raised by his mother. However, she too would die when he was only 44 years old. We do know that Putin was always a bit of an oddball. In school, he was described as a troublemaker and not very athletic. But even at a young age, he showed signs of the controlling behavior that would become his trademark. One time, he got into an altercation with another kid and ended up shoving him off the stage during a school performance. This wasn't exactly out of character for Putin, who was known for being antagonistic towards other students. Part 2. The Secret Family. When Putin was in his late 20s, he met and married Lyudmila Shkrebneva. Together, they had 2 daughters, Maria and Katerina. Or did they? Well, officially, yes. But in terms of the public knowing anything about them, no. In fact, for over a decade, nobody knew if Putin even had daughters. Only when documents were leaked in 2015 did the world find out about them. Even today, though, we know almost nothing about these girls except for their names. It's often been speculated that Putin's ex-wife hid his daughters away to keep them safe and out of the spotlight. But according to reports from the Daily Mail, it may actually be that Putin kept his daughters a secret to hide them from their grandparents. Apparently, Putin's mother had asked the couple to get an abortion because she couldn't afford to raise another child. Putin and his wife refused, which allegedly led to the 2 of them moving to St. Petersburg and getting a divorce. But enough about his estranged daughters. What about Putin's current family? Reports claim that Putin has been in a relationship with a woman named Alina Kabayeva ever since 2008. She's an Olympic gold medal-winning rhythmic gymnast who also used to perform for the Russian national team. The 2 are reportedly so serious that Kabayeva is rumored to be Putin's fiancée. But this, too, is just speculation based on rumors. Putin and Kabayeva have never confirmed anything and haven't even been photographed together as a couple. While Putin certainly doesn't mind having his picture taken, especially when it's to promote his macho image, he goes to great lengths to keep his family totally out of public records. This includes blacking out their faces in photographs. That's right. He's literally tried to erase his own daughters from existence. Given that he's had 2 failed marriages, you might think that Putin would be eager to publicize a new relationship. But maybe he's learned his lesson about keeping his personal life private. After all, if his daughters are half as famous as he is, they still manage to live pretty normal lives. So maybe keeping your family out of the public eye is just what you need to do to stay alive. Part 3. Hidden Wealth and Palaces. We know that Putin makes around $400,000 per year as president. But anyone who's familiar with his lifestyle can tell you that that amount isn't anywhere close to covering the cost of his extravagant way of life. He owns at least one luxurious Black Sea palace that's worth millions. According to a report from Forbes magazine, the palace is located in the Russian coastal resort town of Sochi. They also say that while the palace is officially owned by a non-profit organization, it's widely believed that Putin uses it as his own vacation home. It's nearly 100 feet tall and sits on 13 acres of land. In addition to the palace, Putin also owns at least 3 yachts, dozens of luxury cars, and several custom-built jets. So how does someone make that much money? Well, thanks to Russia's lax laws against government corruption, many of Putin's friends and allies have benefited greatly from his rise to power. By giving them lucrative jobs and contracts, Putin has been able to funnel a huge percentage of his income straight back into his own pocket. There's also some evidence that he personally profited from selling weapons to countries like Syria, Iran, and North Korea. And as for all the stuff he technically doesn't own, well, he simply uses proxies to hide assets in other people's names. For example, one of his close friends happens to be a billionaire businessman named Gennady Timchenko. According to Forbes magazine, Timchenko has a net worth of $20 billion. So you can imagine how much money he has access to. Part 4. Obsessive Control and Surveillance. If there's one thing Putin is known for more than anything else, it's his obsessive control over everything and everyone around him. He takes this to such an extreme that it's even been reported he spies on his own inner circle. Putin is known for getting paranoid and believing that his staff members are out to get him, so he uses expensive technology to monitor them and gather intelligence. For example, he once ordered a listening device to be placed in the bathroom of his foreign minister. This is likely just one small example of the extent to which Putin's paranoia goes. He is known for having a short fuse and lashing out when he feels betrayed. In 2012, he fired one of his best friends and prime minister after suspecting him of plotting a coup. The man he fired had served as his prime minister for 8 years. It's obvious that Putin doesn't take kindly to people he trusts getting above him. Apparently, he has a habit of hiring private investigators to dig up dirt on his subordinates, even following them around and taking pictures. And those that he really trusts will be given lie detector tests. It's even been reported that he uses body doubles to fool his enemies. While none of these claims have been proven, they do paint a vivid picture of just how far Putin will go to protect himself from betrayal. Part 5. The Spiritual and Superstitious Side. Surprisingly, Putin is very involved with the Russian Orthodox Church. He attends services regularly and has even been spotted praying to Jesus Christ alongside Pope Francis. Over the years, he's donated millions of dollars to fund churches and monasteries throughout Russia. However, some people believe that he only does this to maintain his public image. After all, the majority of Russians identify as Russian Orthodox Christian. So it would look bad for the president to neglect the church. There have also been a few instances where Putin's superstitious side has shown itself. Once he visited a monastery, he insisted that nobody touch or move a cross that stood in the exact spot where Russian soldiers had prayed before going into battle 700 years earlier. He even went as far as to order the restoration of the cross. According to Father Vsevolod Chaplin, head of the Russian Orthodox Church's Department for External Church Relations, Putin is a man of faith. He believes that God chose him to become the leader of Russia. In a book called Putin's Russia, journalist and author Catherine Belton describes Putin as being a man on a mission from God. She writes that he genuinely believes it's his destiny to restore Russia to its former imperial glory. As you can see, Putin's spiritual side has greatly influenced his decision-making, but whether or not he'll ever reveal the full truth about his life remains to be seen. So now it's time to make your voice heard. Comment below and let us know what you think is Putin's biggest secret, and if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to check out more content. Thanks for watching.